our new club coach. So, Wes, I just want to welcome you. We're happy to have you here. We really are. And we look forward to, your knowledge and the experience that, you've had in Toastmasters in the past and help our club grow too, because we have a great group of people here, and we're definitely happy to have you or to hear you speak tonight. Before we go any further,
comment on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Wes, do you mind giving us a quick introduction and maybe like a little bit of background before we get started here?
Well, I've been in Toastmasters for a number of years. I'm a retired employee of the Naval Oceanographic Office. I've been involved in a few things. I like skydiving. I like ballroom dancing. I love ballroom dancing. And I like foreign languages. I enjoy dabbling with foreign languages. There's so much culture involved in the language itself. They're just a lot of fun. I'm no linguist by any stretch of the imagination, but I enjoy working with foreign language. I would tell my colleagues when we would go to, I spent a lot of my time at sea as a member of the Naval Oceanographic Office. I worked there for 37 years, and 7 of those years were either at sea or in port. And I would tell my colleagues, I say, whenever you go to another country, whether you know it or not, or whether you like it or not, you are an ambassador of the United States. Our country is evaluated on the basis of your behavior. So I would try to impress it upon my colleagues.
Thanks, Wes. I really appreciate that. And I definitely can feel for you about being out at sea. I'm in the Coast Guard and have my fair share of tours on numerous different cutters and have spent a lot of years out at sea. So I really enjoyed your introduction, and we're happy to have you. Next for club business, so the hybrid meet. It's still been a little bit of a battle, to be honest. I'm not doing very good at finding a spot. I would like to implore everybody here tonight to start reaching out to on your own. I know Maurice, you've definitely sent some links and you've reached out to numerous places yourself. Things just hadn't panned out quite yet, but I really appreciate it because I do need help with this. So if you guys have any thoughts, ideas, send them my way, or even reach out and see what you can figure out. And I definitely want to keep this a priority. With people getting vaccinated and starting to be safer, it's something that I want to make a priority. We will still keep the Zoom platform because I think it is relevant, especially in today's world and with the comfort level of people during COVID. And so as long as one person wants to do this, I think it's great. And to be honest, even when you travel, if we have the Zoom platform set up, I can still attend. And so I think probably it's going to be here to stay for the foreseeable future, but I still want to try to get back into the hybrid meetings. Lastly, I think me and Kyler spoke to the same gentleman this afternoon, Rick Solomon, and he wants to join the club, but he wants to do it in person. So I tried to get him told him about the Zoom links. He just says it really wasn't for him. He's an in-person kind of guy. I can understand that. And he is actually going to start reaching out to some other places as well. I just told him to please keep me posted because if we find a spot, this is something that we can do, and he wants to join the club. So with that, I don't want to take up any more time. Does anybody have any club business to pass? Carrie?
I'd like to say thank you.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just saying, don't tell me we still got to pay dues. No, go ahead. I was just picking.
The good news this time, okay? I like to appreciate all of you and thank you so much for making a payment. And luckily we have 8 payments, which is requirement to have a good status of the club. So again, so we met the requirement, and really appreciate So our club is healthy. Our club is good standing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carrie. I really appreciate the update on that. Anybody else?
No,
Okay.
so I just want to make sure that you said the guy's name was Rick Sullivan, and you said he doesn't want to be a part of it unless it's in person. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's Rick Solomon,
Oh, Solomon.
SALMON.
I had Solomon. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, he says that he really wants to be a part. Kyler?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it almost sounded like salmon, but I'm not sure if it was just what my phone was saying. But it almost sounded like he was saying like salmon or salmon.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's unfortunate, but I'm anxious to get back into a hybrid type setting as well, but that's unfortunate
Yeah, he
because
thinks.
we would love to have him.
Yeah, he thinks he knows somebody, so it may turn out to be a good thing. You know, he might connect us with someone.
Was he a former Toastmaster already?
Yeah, in California.
Oh,
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience. He's been in Toastmasters since 2004. He's been the vice president of membership. He's been a president. So he's got a lot of experience, and I think he'd be great for the club. I just don't think he's going to do the online stuff.
gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
With that, Wes?
Oh, Wes has his hand up.
Yeah, just one thing. Luke, did you happen to distribute the little document I had on the pathways?
I don't think I saw that, sir, so I apologize.
Well, I sent you and Carrie a document on pathways. It was largely based upon a document that was given by another coach, Crystal Walcott. So I was impressed by her presentation, and I put together my own presentation on pathways to help members become more comfortable with pathways. I'm by no means an expert in pathways at all, but I had to do this for two reasons: to help the club that I was coaching previously, and also help myself, because all my previous accomplishments have been totally through legacy. But I had to learn about pathways, so what better way to do it than to jump in and try and help others in the same process?
Absolutely, and I apologize, Wes, for overlooking that. Is it possible? I'll go back in my email and see if I have it, and I can definitely distribute it out to the club. I can send a club mass email, and I'll write a note right now to do that. So yeah, I'm sorry I missed that one. Okay. Without further ado, I think club business is done, and I will turn it over to our Toastmaster for the evening, and that is Maurice.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Toastmasters. Yes, the roles for tonight, we had Kyler do the invocation and the pledge, and the grammarian, and I believe the all counter also, right, for tonight will be Luke. Okay, can you just briefly give us a description of the all counter and grammarian?
All right, good evening, everybody. So as the grammarian, I will be presenting the word of the day and also just be looking for proper uses of the English language. So the word of the day, hope you guys can see this, is footle is how I say it, and it means to act or talk foolishly. So used in a sentence, I hope that I speak clearly tonight and I don't speak footle. Back to you, Toastmaster.
All right, thank you, Luke. Our table topics master for tonight will be Olivia.
Good evening, everyone. My responsibility tonight is that of the table topics master. So that entails asking questions to the members, honored guests, visitors, to invoke a response in the form of a speech. It's a 1 to 2 minute impromptu speech where I may ask the question and then wait for a volunteer, or pick you as a volunteer and then ask the question. So everyone get ready, you will enjoy it. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
All right, thank you, Olivia. Our timer for tonight will be Carrie.
Good evening, Toastmaster and the members, and the new member, West. I am your timer tonight. I'm timing your speech. Happily, we have a prepared speech. So prepared speech, 5 to 7 minutes, I believe, for tonight. And you see agreeing at 6 minutes. I'm sorry, 5 minutes. And yellow at 6, 7, red at 7. For table topic, we use the green at 1,
Yeah. Mhm.
yellow at 1 and 30 seconds, and where is it? Red at
Red.
2. And we have evaluation tonight. So evaluation, we have 2 minutes. Yes, 2. Yeah, use the green 2, and 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Use the yellow, and where is the red? And 3 minutes. Use the red. Okay, back to Maurice.
All right, thank you, Carrie. Our general evaluator for tonight will be David.
Thank you, Larice. Hi, everyone. I'll be your general evaluator for this evening. So I will be evaluating everything. I will be introducing the people that have various roles for them to give their reports. And I will just give an overall evaluation of how the meeting went and that sort of thing. And I'm happy to be here. And I would also like to welcome Wes. We are very much pleased to have you as a member of our group. Thank you. Back to you, Maurice.
All right, thank you, David. And not to fool around any longer, I'd like to introduce the first speaker for tonight. And he is Wes Hillstrom. And were you a member of Diamond Head?
I was.
Okay, Diamond Head. Okay, with Tom.
Actually, I was many years ago, but my home group is Gulf Coast.
Oh, Gulf
I
Coast.
also belong to, I'm a member of Bienville and now happily Hilltoppers.
All right, thank you. And as if those who weren't tuned in at the time when Wesley was sort of introducing himself, he likes skydiving and foreign languages and ballroom dancing, among other things.
Yes.
And his speech for tonight comes from Leadership Development, Evaluation and Feedback 1. And the title of his speech is An Uplifting Event.
Actually, it's just a back pocket speech. It's a read of it's essentially a pocket speech.
All right. Okay, fair enough. Okay, a pocket speech. So without further ado, without further footling around, I'll turn the lectern over to Wes.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, I was standing atop a cliff, a ridge in Hawaii, overlooking the vast ocean, feeling the wind as it was coming against me, the exhilarating experience. I went closer to the ridge, took a leap of faith, and stepped off the 1,000-foot cliff and rose heavenly skyward. It was glorious. Of course, if anybody were attached to a hang glider, which was also attached to a top-level hang gliding instructor, one would have exactly the same experience. To give a little bit of background, as I said before, I'm a retired employee of the Naval Oceanographic Office. In 1983, my ship was in Hawaii, and on our own free time, we did whatever we wanted to do. So I elected to take hang gliding lessons. So I had a rental car and I would drive on weekends and on my own free time during the evenings to the North Shore and take these hang gliding lessons. Fortunately, I was able, just by the luck of the draw, to have a man named Mike Benson as my hang gliding instructor. He was a world-class hang gliding instructor. And by the luck of the draw, I had him as my instructor. Now, Mike knew that in addition to these hang gliding lessons, that I wanted to go off Mount Cooper Ridge. He would take students off this 1,000-foot cliff, but the wind conditions had to be right. And he said, well, Russ, if you want to go, I'll give you a call, let you know when the conditions are right. This is great. Well, Friday, September 30th, 1983, I got a call from Mike. He says, Wes, the winds are great. We can go off the ridge. Fantastic. Now, back in 1983, there was this hurricane that was threatening the islands. Now, it veered off, was no longer a threat to Oahu, but the winds were still strong coming in from the sea. We're going straight up the cliff. So I drove to the top of the cliff and met Mike. And Mike was a great hang gliding instructor, great hang gliding pilot. He checked that entire fabric of the hang glider to make sure there was no tears or anything that would be threatening. He checked all the bars of the hang glider to make sure everything was right. So he strapped the hang glider on. He says, now, Wes, we have to make sure that we go off the ridge at exactly the same time. We have to be in balance. So it took a few practice steps. We would take 1, 2, jump. 1, 2, jump. We did that for a few times to make sure that we were in sync. So to the edge of this ridge, we took 1, 2, we jumped off, we went straight up. The winds were so strong coming from the sea that we didn't fall, we went straight up. Mike had an altimeter that beeped when the hang glider was ascending. That hang glider did not stop, that altimeter did not stop until we were at 2,300 feet. But Mike was giving me in-flight instruction. To descend, we would go away from the cliff toward the sea. To ascend, we would turn around, come catch the wind as it went up to the cliff. We just circled around like that for about 15 or 20 minutes. It was glorious. As we were doing this, I was taking photographs. After I was taking in-flight instructions, he would take the pilot of the craft and I would be taking pictures. I took these great pictures. Sunlight was streaming through the volcanic peaks. Then after all my film was used up, I saw even more spectacular shots. But that's okay. But anyway, it didn't matter because fast forward to 2005, a lady named Katrina came along and ate all my photographs. A lot of my photographs, most of my photographs. But, oh well, that's one of those things. But now back to the hang gliding experience. We're flying around, and I hear this helicopter. So naturally I look up, but it's actually below us. It was one of 2 rainbow-colored helicopters that were used in the old Magnum PI series. They were filming a scene. So you're watching an old Magnum PI episode, and you happen to see 2 guys hang gliding around. It might be Mike and I, who knows? Then I heard these dogs barking. Well, they weren't dogs. They were seals. Because Sea Life Park was below us near the foot of Mount Cooper Ridge. So we're having a wonderful time just flying around. And Mike was an absolutely fantastic instructor. He gave me a great deal of flight instruction. I learned a lot from Mike and by his skill. He was an excellent pilot. Now it was said that in the days of King Kamehameha would throw enemy warriors off Mount Cooper Ridge. Fortunately, due to Mike's skill, we did not go into enemy warrior mode. We stayed aloft and we had a great time. So we continued flying around for a while. Then Mike came down, made a perfect landing on the beach. Later that week, I completed my hang gliding lessons. I did get my beginning lesson, my beginning hang gliding 1 lessons. It's called Hang 1. I had a most glorious experience with Mike as my instructor. It was truly an uplifting event. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Wes. So that was an uplifting event. As a matter of fact, a series of uplifting events.
Yes, I'll agree.
Yes.
It was fun.
15, 20 minutes of uplifting events.
Yes. Yes. And I just want to verify that there's no second speaker, right? Okay, at this time, we'll move into our table topics. And our table topics master for tonight will be Olivia.
Woohoo! Hello, everyone, and welcome to Table Topics. I don't want to be footle, so I will. Am I saying that word right? Because I missed when you guys were giving the pronunciation. Luke, how do I say it?
I think you're saying it right. I say footle, but I'm probably saying it wrong too. Just like salmon and salmon earlier. I think either way, you definitely are saying the word of the day.
Let's see. I'm curious. Let's see if I can get it right here. And the way to say it is footle. Okay, you were right. You said footle, right? Okay, so I don't want to be footle. That means speak or act foolishly, but I will encourage you all to have a good time at our table topics discussion. So here it is. Springtime is here. Spring makes most people feel happy. Bubbling, flowers are blooming, birds are chirping. Kyler, tell me one thing that you like about spring.
Thank you, Olivia. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. My name is Kyler, and I've been asked, what do I like about spring? And there's a lot of things I like about spring. Spring is actually my second favorite time of the year, fall being the first. And but spring, yeah, Olivia gets it. Yeah, spring is a very close second, mostly because we're sort of coming out of winter. We're starting to get a little more sunlight. Usually get some clear days. Especially around this time, like it feels cool, but it's also warm enough to not wear a jacket. I feel like it's just kind of the perfect time to be outside, and I feel like there's just something in me that wants to get outside right now. Normally, I'm okay with being inside, not doing anything, but you know, right now it's just like I really need to get outside. So the weather for sure is one of my favorite things. Just the kind of general, I guess, attitude that a lot of people tend to have about spring is just kind of this newness feeling. Everyone's trying something new. It's sort of like with New Year's, you sort of have like the people make their their pledges for the new year or whatever, and those are always kind of false. Like those aren't really real. There's no real energy behind a lot of those. But when the spring rolls around, that sun, whatever it is, the sunshine, the air, there's actual energy. So when someone's like, I'm going to do this now, or I'm going to do that now, like it happens. People actually seem to make changes in the spring, in my experience. So that just is infectious to me. And then, so I will go ahead and end my Toastmasters topic in order to not sound too footle, although every time I hear the word footle, I think about a French poodle. So I'm going to make up a story maybe later about having a French poodle. Thank you.
How about a French poodle named Footle?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Footle the
Very
poodle.
good. Very good, Kyler. Yes, springtime does evoke a certain set of energies, emotions, and they are real. The energy is picking up. Things are growing and blooming, and it's amazing. The birds are chirping, the flowers are blooming, the trees, the grass is growing. Okay, all that sounds wonderful to most people, but I'm going to ask for someone to volunteer to tell me one thing you do not like about spring. One thing you do not like. Don't all speak at once. Someone tell me one thing you do not like about spring. Luke, I'll take you.
All right. Good evening, fellow Toastmaster members. And I would say honored guests, but our new member. So
Yes.
I've been asked one thing I don't like about spring. And to be honest, there's not too much to not like about spring, but there is one thing that like the fall and the spring both have in common that bother me. So I love keeping a nice clean yard. I like having the grass cut short. I don't like leaves in the yard. I don't like it weeds. I don't like it to look messy. I like nice landscaping. When you come up to the home, it looks put together, clean, cut, everything. Well, I just moved. I was living in Grand Bay, Alabama, out around about 80 acres. I didn't have a lot of big trees where I was kind of living, so I didn't have to worry too much about leaves. But I just moved to Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and bought a home. And this is where we are now. And it is surrounded by a lot of live oaks. So with live oaks come a lot of leaves. And I will do yard work for a couple hours, have the yard clean, and by tomorrow morning, there will be leaves all over the driveway and the yard. And it's one of the things that I just can't keep up with. And so I have to learn to deal with some leaves down, and it bothers me. So that is one thing that I do not like about spring, because it makes me feel like my yard is unkept. And I will turn it back over to Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Luke, for your response. I didn't realize, I remember you saying that you were looking or you were moving, but I didn't realize we were no longer neighbors. But I'm not far from Ocean Springs, so glad that you moved and bought a house. Congratulations. Yeah, so I will go out on the limb and say that I am the Scrooge of spring. So I don't care for anything about spring, because everything means something. So for me, the grass is growing, and yes, I have weeds this season have taken over, and I'm using all kind of chemicals. So Luke, if you have some good advice on that, please share. When the flowers start blooming, my nose starts itching. The pollen, and I'm not allergic to pollen at this point, but the bees are everywhere. I was doing some yard work myself, and I was edging up the sidewalk in the driveway, and lizards started popping out. Oh, needless to say, my work there was done. So in the fall, which is my favorite season, I don't have to worry about that. It's getting cool and everything is running away. And that's the way I like them. All bugs, please go away. If you don't pay rent or mortgage, stay away from here. Thank you very much. So I will ask for another volunteer. Carrie, I know you don't feel good, but I was wondering if you or anyone else that would like to volunteer to tell me, what is your favorite spring color and why? Anyone can answer. What is your favorite spring color and why? Maybe it reminds you of a pretty flower. Okay, go ahead, Carrie.
Let me set the timer for me.
I'll do your time.
Okay, that's great. Great. Good evening, Toastmaster members and the new member West. My favorite color from spring is cherry blossom color. It's a bright, not bright, very light pink, soft pastel pink. That's because cherry blossom is national flower of Japan, official national flower of Japan. You probably saw a lot of cherry blossom in Washington, D.C. That's a gift from Japan. I would love to go sometime soon. Also, whenever I see that, probably not the cherry blossom, but look like a cherry blossom-ish flowers in my neighborhood, that make me so happy. And then we do it under the cherry blossom, picnic, eating lunch, or talking with friends, or some people drinking alcohol, or having a lot of fun under the cherry blossom tree. So every time I see that beautiful cherry blossom-ish flower tree, make me happy. And that's why I love the bright It's not bright, soft, light pink color. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carrie, for your answer. And I do like the cherry blossoms, the smell, the color. And I guess I can say that is one pretty thing about spring. The flowers are blooming and they're beautiful. Okay, so let's see. With spring times comes all the positive things that you can think of. And I sure hate that Cheyenne's not feeling well, because this question I had in mind for her. So I'll ask it to anyone. So please tell me, what is your springtime affirmation? Give me something that you repeat to yourself, or something that spring invokes in you. What kind of affirmation does the springtime invoke in you? Anyone can answer. I think we have Donovan. Go ahead, Donovan. Tell me what type of affirmation springtime evokes in you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Table Topics Master and honored guests. My question is, what does springtime is? Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Affirmation is something that you repeat. I can, I will, I'm pretty, I'm handsome. I will finish this race. I will. So tell me something that springtime, what type of emotion does springtime evoke for you? How does it make you feel? Or something you remind yourself of in the springtime?
Thank you. So what my affirmation of springtime that repeats to myself is to refresh, rejuvenate, renew. To me, that's a way of helping you to get through the day or to get through life in general, especially now. Like, for an example, is COVID. I know COVID is a very hard time for people, but it helps to think that way. If you think that way, it'll help you to really think a little deeper into yourself. One example that refreshes me is to take a shower, because a shower feels good. When you get out, you feel like you're a new person, sort of, because you also rejuvenated and calmed by the shower. Another example is rain. Just by listening to the rain, it kind of helps you to cleanse yourself internally. By cleansing yourself, it helps you to release all the negative energy from yourself. Another example would be the smell of flowers, or the smell or the different scents of different things that's around, like a candle or a flower or an orange, because it helps you to be able to get through the day. It helps you to be refreshed, to be able to be rejuvenated. By doing that, it will help you to be yourself without any stress and anything that's on you. Thank you. Back to you, Ms. Table Topic Master.
Very good, Donovan. Sometimes we take for granted those few little small moments when we're in the shower, and how much, if we think about it in a spiritual manner as well as the physical, you're cleaning yourself, but you can wash away the day, wash away whatever is heavy on you. Sometimes you get burdened down throughout the day. So I'd like to take those times in the shower to just wash it all away. Let the water run, feel the water. So that's very good. Yeah, springtime does evoke that feeling of starting new, cleaning off the old and putting in the new. I think our time is winding up now for table topics. I hope I wasn't too footle. And I will pass this back over to you, Maurice, our Toastmaster for the evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. At this time, we'll go into the third phase of our meeting, which is the evaluation period. And our general evaluator for tonight is David.
Thank you, Maurice, and good to see everyone again. I'm David. I will be your general evaluator for this evening. And at the end of the evaluations, I'll go over overall my thoughts about the meeting. But to start with, we will move to our evaluation of our first speech of the evening, our first and only speech. And I will turn the lectern over to Kyler, who will give his evaluation.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I've been asked to evaluate Wes's speech. First off, I just want to thank you for being here tonight, Wes, and thank you for joining our group. We're glad to have you. Second, that was funny how the invocation and your speech seemed to line up so well. It sounds like you had a very literal experience of jumping off of a cliff and gaining your wings on the way down. So yeah, so that was a good call on that speech. Is definitely that's the most literal version of that I've ever heard of. So going on to the evaluation portion, I really enjoyed the content of your speech. It was incredibly interesting. I've never hang glided myself, but it's something I've always admired and been amazed by, especially the fact that I think everybody here at some point has, wanted to fly or had a dream about flying. It just seems to be a basic human instinct to wish that we could fly. And you were able to do that yourself. And it's just really neat to hear someone talk about their firsthand experience. So I really like that. I like the content. I really like that you put personal emotion into it. You talked about what it was like to be, going down and then coming back up, and how fantastic it was once you were back up. I was able to kind of feel what you were saying, even though I've not had that exact experience. I felt the empathy from what you were saying. I like how you described the way hang gliding works. And that's something that's always interesting to me. Is like, how does something work? How can it be done? Like, especially from someone who does it often or someone who knows it well. I like it when someone takes the time to bring it back down to earth for the rest of us. Let's see, some other things I liked. I like that, you did lots of things to keep people's attention. Like, you brought up the story, the part of the story with Magnum PI. Like, that's something that most of us are aware of. So that, that we recognize that, we can relate to that. And then I really like that you were giving the times and the dates when these things happen. That's always something that I like, because I like to know when things are happening. And then the last thing is, I like how you described your instructor. I don't remember his exact name off the top of my head. I think you said it was Mike or something like that. Is that correct? Okay, yeah, I like that. I liked learning that there was someone who not only taught people how to hang glide, but was a professional hang glider. And that's something I'm always interested in, is like finding out, new worlds and, new people who do something for a living that you didn't even know could be done for a living. Like that's always cool to me. That's always inspiring to find out someone, becomes a professional in their given hobby. Overall, I really enjoyed your speech. It was fantastic. You had my attention the whole time, and I'm glad you're here, and I look forward to more speeches from you. And back to you.
Thank you, Kyler. I also enjoyed the speech, and it's really good to get to know more about you, Wes. And I really had no clue that you like skydiving and hang gliding. So it's really cool to hear that, and it's something I'd love to try one day. I'm a little bit risk adverse, but I do love thrills. And thank you, Kyler, for the evaluation. So moving on, we will get please, the timers report. So I'll turn the lectern over to Carrie.
Good evening again. First of all, Wes, your prepared speech, it was wonderful. Thank you so much. 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Perfect. Tyler, your table topic, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. And your evaluation, 3 minutes and 29 seconds. Luke, 1 minute and 45 seconds. Kiri, myself, 1 minute and 6 seconds. Donovan, 2 minutes and 27 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. And moving on again, we will go to the all counters report, and then also after that, the grammarian report, both of which will be done by Luke. So I'll turn the lectern to Luke.
All right, good evening, fellow Toastmaster members. So for the all counters report, I do have to say that I kind of forgot to listen for some filler words sometimes. I started really listening to the table topics and the answers, and I tend to do that as all counter, so I do apologize. But I did catch myself, which I can just mark down another one. I had 4 ums and 1 I'm sure I had more. Kyler, I had about 5 ums and 1 and that was all I wrote down for the all counters report. So I do apologize about that. I need to do better about listening. And for the grammarian report, we actually had a lot of people use the word of the day. We had Olivia use it. I marked down 2 times, and you might have done it 3. Maurice, you had, I think, 2, and Kyler, you had 2. And if somebody else said it, I apologize. But I think that was a good word of the day, and nobody spoke footle tonight. And I thought everyone spoke very clear, and it was fun. I'll turn it back over to our general evaluator.
Thank you, Luke. I think that concludes all of our reports for this evening. And overall, I think the meeting went fairly well. We were 5 minutes late starting, but I think in the Zoom format, just getting everybody logged on and assigned roles is not quite as efficient as in person, but we're doing okay with that. And let's see, I had some other things. The table topics went fine. It was always good to have something related to this current events, and spring is definitely on our minds. I've been bicycling a lot lately, and it's just amazing. In Mobile, the azaleas, everything about a week ago were just really rock solid. I mean, they were just spectacular seeing all that. So that was a good table topics. And one thing about all counters report, I would say, I've been in Toastmasters for about 1.5 years now. And that's the one thing which sticks in my mind more than anything else is paying attention to filler words, even when I'm not in Toastmasters, when I'm just out and about. And so now it drives me crazy when I hear politicians and people that do it so much, but I'm really learning, and it's amazing. Even at my age, I have so much to learn about communication, and that's one of the great things about Toastmasters is that we can always learn and improve upon ourselves. But that's about all I have as the general evaluator, and so I will turn the lectern back over to our Toastmaster, Maurice.
All right, thank you, David. At this time, we'll go into our educational overview, and this will be done by Donovan. The title of his educational overview is 5 Ways to Better Yourself as a Speaker. Without any further ado, and without any time for me to footle, I will turn the lectern over to Donovan.
Thank you, Maurice. Thank you, everyone. The title of my education overview is 5 Ways to Better Yourself as a Speaker. Let's say that you have 5 claws. One claw is your goals. The second is to remind yourself of those goals. These 2 goals will help you to remind yourself to set goals for yourself, but also set reminders. That's also really important. The third goal is to push emotion in how you speak. By pushing emotion into how you speak, it helps you to be able to be excited, be scared, or be any type of emotion that you think that you should emphasize in that speech. The fourth goal is to assert your own ideas in your speech. By asserting your ideas, it helps you to, it's important to have a base of something from something else. But it's also important to add your own ideas. By doing that, it helps you to be able to know what you're speaking, because if you don't know what you're speaking as, you can't really talk about it. And then the fifth goal, it is to use gestures to emphasize action in your speech. By watching Wes doing his speech, it kind of made me think that it is important to use gestures, because he did use some gestures when he was talking about different aspects in his speech. By doing that, I'm sure that if you follow these 5 goals or flaws, I am sure that you will have great results at the end. By thinking this way, it will help you to be a better speaker, to be a better person, and to be a better businessman if you're into that. There's different ways of doing that, and as a leader. And I am sure that these are the ways that you need to follow. Thank you. Back to you, Luke.
Thank you, Donovan, for that educational overview. Are there any awards tonight or any awards upcoming? Okay, at this time, I would like to relinquish the virtual lectern back to our president, Luke.
All right, thanks, Maurice. I like the virtual lectern. I think that one should stick. Okay, well, to wrap up the meeting, it's 7:40, so we got 5 minutes left, but I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I wrote down a couple things. Wes, just want to say welcome once again. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, introducing yourself, speaking in Speaker One spot. I really enjoyed your hang gliding story, and it's also terrifying. I actually was just recently in Washington, and I hiked a trail, and at the top of this trail, everyone would jump off and hang glide, and I was just fascinated by it, and just looking up made me dizzy. So I don't know how you do it, but I definitely really, enjoyed your story tonight, or your speech. Next week, sir, if I can ask, do you mind maybe speaking in Speaker One spot, or maybe education overview, and just kind of give us a general rundown as like club coach, and kind of some of the things you would like to see us do or try membership wise, or anything. I want to gain some of your knowledge and experience, and I want the club to hear it too. So if you're okay with that, maybe we can fit you in that next week if you're all right with that.
Yes, sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Let's see, Carrie, thank you so much for stepping up and doing the timer. I know you weren't feeling well today. I really appreciate you filling in, and it definitely was a big help tonight, so thank you. Cheyenne, please, Kyler, let Cheyenne know if she can't hear me. I hope she feels better too. I'm glad you guys are getting your shots and everyone's getting vaccinated and feeling, starting to be safer out there. And I hope the shot doesn't affect her too bad. But anyway, I hope she does feel better soon.
Yeah, thank you.
And let's see. Lastly, I just want to quickly ask Olivia how her show went. the other week.
Oh, am I on? Yeah. It was really a success. I think my nerves got the best of me, not for speaking, as you all know, I love that part. But I think it was the whole, oh, I hope I did everything right. And I was the editor, so I had to run videos, and I did a little PowerPoint presentation with slides, and also it was a mess. So anywho, well, it wasn't a mess, but I mean, I'm doing it all from this little home office I have here. So I did not post it yet on YouTube, but I will. Tomorrow's show is life insurance. It's about life insurance. Do you need it or not? Do you have your final wishes taken care of? So again, every week it's just an open forum or open discussion on matters that matter. Nothing footle, yeah, will be discussed. All good stuff that we all can use. So I will definitely start putting them on YouTube, and I'll let you guys know so you can go back take a look at it. Those of you that's not on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, meet me tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central.
And I would definitely meet you if I was on Facebook. I've never had
That's
it, so I'm
okay.
gonna have to stick with the YouTube.
That's great. That's great.
What?
No, I was just saying that's perfect. Yeah, YouTube. And then I would love for you guys to take a look at them and critique them. I will tell you the first thing that I noticed, that I lost some of my audience. So like right now, I see my audio is not catching up with my video. So I got to really figure out why my internet is going nuts. But I lost my audience because I guess I must have thought that I was Oprah or Dr. Phil. I can keep everybody's attention for a whole hour. And so in the age of TikTok and Snapchat, where, videos are 15 seconds to a minute, I learned quickly that, okay, I had more of an audience at the beginning than I did at the end. So I'm no longer going to try to do an hour show right now. It's going to be 30 minutes. So about 15, 20 minutes with the audience. With whoever I'm going to have on the show, my guest. And then from there, about 10 minutes maybe for any audience questions. So I don't want to lose the audience again. So that I learned right off the bat. So I'll keep you guys posted on how it works. And thank you for asking.
Thanks, Olivia. Wes, did you have something to add?
Well, as a new member of Hilltoppers, I'd like to put in a little plug for Mobile. When you're driving around Mobile, did you ever notice a little academy known as Graham's Academy of Martial Arts in the Mobile area?
Where is it? What street is it on? Do you know?
Dawes. It was on Dawes. On
Oh,
Dawes.
Dawes Road?
Yeah. But before I went to grad school, I was kind of involved in that for many years. But the John Graham was the main instructor. My instructor was a gentleman by the name of Kenny Hendricks. Lived in
Wow.
Now he lives in Mobile. He lives in Mobile. One of his students was a little kid with short hair by the name of Chad Tatum. He's now known as Channing Tatum.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of accolades to the Mobile area, Mobile Goshen area.
I definitely didn't know that Channing Tatum was from Mobile, but that's definitely interesting to know. In the next movie I see him in, I'll tell people that.
Mobile, well, I mean, it could have been Goshen, Mobile Goshen area. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. Could have been Mississippi.
Gotcha. Well, that's definitely a fun fact to Mobile, that's for sure. Lastly, before we wrap it up, Donovan, I just want to say thanks for the education overview. I'm not sure if you already had it ready tonight, but if you didn't, you did a great job getting it together pretty quickly. I always have to review mine for a while and put a lot of prep into it, and yours always seem to come off pretty flawlessly. And I really enjoyed it because it's not just about being a better speaker, which yes, Toastmasters we're here to do, but I like how you incorporate things and just being a better person, especially with your table topics answer, being a better, leader, businessman, businesswoman. And that's why we're here as a club, you know, to help support each other, not just in speaking, but just in whatever we're doing, just like Olivia doing her talk show and everything like that. So anyway, I appreciate it. And I thought you had a great education overview tonight. With that, does anybody have anything in closing? Wes?
You can count on me to do my absolute best in your corner.
Well, we definitely appreciate it. And we're looking forward to, you know, like I said, gaining some knowledge and learning how to kind of bolster our club, because we have a great group and we always have a great time. Each meeting, you know, we have some laughs, it's fun. We don't just, we just kind of adapt, you know, where we can. And so gaining membership and kind of learning how to up our game a little bit is going to be great. And so I'm happy you're our club coach, and I think we're all looking forward to the knowledge that you're going to share with all of us.
Yeah,
All right, guys.
I'll second that. I really appreciate you being with us, Wes. And we had done a good bit with pathways earlier on, but I think all of our members have kind of fallen off that bandwagon. I'm actually starting level 5 on my pathway, so I'm pretty familiar with pathways, and it's something we should probably need to get back into doing. It's a little quirky, but it's you know, that's part of the Toastmasters experience. So we definitely welcome any help in that as well. So.
I have a PowerPoint presentation on it that I could share.
Sure.
Yes.
I don't want to come across as any kind of an expert, but I'll share all that I can. I'm happy to.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll tell
no,
you, Wes,
I definitely to see that PowerPoint as well. Olivia, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I totally admire, and I'm not really into the skydiving, but that was beautiful how you were ascending and you went so high with the meter and all that. But the foreign language and the ballroom dancing, I love ballroom dancing, salsa. I've been training to do both. COVID really put a damper on that because the bachata and salsa, I was learning all those, and I love all those dances. I think they're so sensual and it's just a language of its own.
Yes.
And then most people here know how much I love Spanish. So, and you're right, when you start to learn a second language, you learn the culture, because you will realize that so many words, the words that don't transfer over to English, or either how many words in the English language actually came from other languages and what they meant in its origin. It's just beautiful. So yeah, to learn a second language, you learn a lot about the culture, and I really am intrigued by that. So we share those two things in common, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Carrie?
I would like to share one thing of the due for this free pack extended to April 7th. So we have today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. We have 3 more days, including today.
Thanks, Carrie. Tyler, did you have anything, or? Okay. All right, guys. Well, look, I think it was a great meeting once again. I really enjoyed it.